Welcome everyone that is attending this webinar organized by the Solmaz Foundation. Very welcome. And yeah, we are going to have a wonderful panel with experts today about Indigo. And before we proceed with the introductions and everything and the presentation, I would like to pass to Annie the word so she can tell us how things will go through this panel. Thank you.
Just a little housekeeping before we dive into the conversation, but you'll notice that the chat box has been disabled and the Q&A is open. So at the end of the discussion, we will be having a 10-minute Q&A period. So please do submit your questions throughout the panel, but we will get to them at the end of the conversation. And that's it from me. So you'll see me at the end of the webinar.
Thank you, Annie, and thanks, Joanne. She is here. You don't see her, but she's here, and she's making sure that everything goes smoothly without trouble throughout the panel. So first of all, let's say we have the Indigo as the main topic. This is, we think, a good final for the second season of The Truth. This is the 4th episode. We play here like a little bit like Stranger Things in Netflix, same style. And we want to tackle Indigo from different angles. We want to have the opinion on experts from the chemical side and commercial. We want to have the expert opinion from application, so the machine manufacturer for Indigo, and we want to have the expert opinion from development, so the expert people that makes the final thing that is seen on the store. So please, I would like to Gunther, for example, to start introducing yourself. Hi, Gunther. How are you?
Hello, Miguel. I'm fine. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
That's
thank you.
Good. Okay. Well, short introduction from my side. Gunther Wiedler, working at Dystar in the function of head of technology for Denim and Sodamide. What this is, we can explain later on. For what we need this Sodamide as well. I'm located in Germany, in Concurrent in Ludwigshafen, where our Indigo is coming from.
Right, thank you. Salli, please tell us about you. Tell us about yourself.
Hi, Miguel. For those that don't know me, I'm Salli Deighton. I'm a product developer. I'm also part of a team who are working on bringing back the denim industry to the UK. And we're trying to put a laundry in the UK. We're just fundraising at the moment to try and tackle some of the challenges we have with waste and also indigo processing in the UK. We don't have a lot of it. I've been a product developer for many years. I am definitely not an expert on washing. I look up to so many people, so I'm bringing a layman's perspective on all the aspects and areas that I need to consider. I'm really lucky I learned from the likes of Miguel and Gunther and people like that. And Izomi, an amazing guy who is working with us on the laundry project, who has years and years of excellent experience. So I look up to you experts for the truth. But I'm here to contribute with my frustrations and a curious angle to how we treat indigo in the industry.
You're very, very modest, Salli. I think the industry knows your capacity and experience, so you don't have to say anything. Everyone knows your high level on everything. It seems that we have lost Kursat from PRO-SMH. That he's representing the part of the application of the Indigo. So while our production is working on that, maybe what we can do is play the first introduction video. And we will come back after this short clip. So John, can we play that 2.5 minutes video, please? Thank you.
Indigo, from the sky that stretches beyond our dreams and the ocean that crumbles beneath our feet. We see this magical color everywhere. It's all around us, draped in all of the things we hold important. Of all the colors in existence, indigo seems to stand apart in all of its mystery. It feels like an intricate puzzle that can never be solved, yet there are a few artists who insist on putting these pieces together even if they can never imagine a day when they can truly understand this magical color.
During the life of Ajrakpur, indigo starts to exit in its natural form. Synthetic indigo comes in.
जब ये सिंथेटिक कंपाउंड में आ गया तो एकदम इजी हो गया, तो इसके पीछे फिर जहरीले कलर आए।
केमिकल नेफ्थोल डाइज हमारे बाप दादाओं ने उस टाइम 45-50 में शुरू किया,
लेकिन उसके बाद से जो नेचुरल इंडिगो का जो लिंक था वो टूट गया।
I think it would have virtually become extinct if not for some small people who held on to it. And luckily now that there's a revival of the natural indigo happening.
मेरे फादर ने उसको 72-73 में वापस रिवाइव करना शुरू किया था।
Indigo as a color will always remain because blue is a very universal color. Now it is to see if natural indigo replaces all the other blues that are happening around.
Indigo often arrives as a color, but soon finds itself deeply ingrained within the culture. Its strange, unpredictable nature allows people to associate it with things that are beyond understanding. Indigo often makes up for what is lacking in nature.
All of these people actually give different parts to the puzzle that is indigo, and yet the puzzle never can be seen completely. It is a mystery that you feel like you need to spend a lifetime understanding.
Indigo is a forever evolving sense of culture that is changing shape and form in the hands of these artists. And as time ticks and talks, we are left with no conclusion. But we have arrived at a deeper, more meaningful starting point. We have only scratched the surface of a mystery that has moved artists for generations. We have only begun to understand the thick layer of green that we see churning on top of the pot. We are still yet to dive in. We are still yet to learn all of the mysteries that lie within.
Well, that was a very inspiring video, right? About indigo nature and magic. The word magic is mentioned several times. So we have Kursat back. Fortunately, hi again, Kursat. We were introducing ourselves, and so you are very welcome. Happy to have you here. Can you say a few words about you, Kursat? Introduce yourself and your company.
Yeah, we are the one of the warp dyeing machine manufacturing company, PRO-SMH. Actually, we are the extension. We are having the heritage of Suker Müller and Hakoba, the Mönus group. And I'm having a role in that company as a sales manager. And I have a technical background. I made some mills. I manage the mills, and I'm mainly a product developer and a process developer.
Okay, thank you. So here we go. Let's start with the first questions and the introduction. The reason why we picked indigo for this final panel of the second season is because it's a Dystar pigment, whatever you're going to call it, depending on the form that is presented, that is everybody loves. Okay, it's the king of the dyes. Everybody loves indigo. Indigo is great. There are even flying companies, airlines that are called indigo. There are some special type of children that are called indigo kids. So indigo is a word that people likes very much. But we thought that it's not well known. I mean, even though that is a massive Dystar in terms of volumes used and is connected to denim since the early days, we thought that it was not very well understood or known by the general audience. So we wanted to have an episode to have the opinion from experts around different topics related to indigo. So my first question is for the team, it's for the group, and it's about what is your definition of blue jeans, blue denim? So I don't know, any of you? Salli, can you say something? What is blue jeans for you?
I can always say something, Miguel, you know me, sorry. I decided to look at the dictionary actually, because we all have an opinion on what blue jeans is, and we know how much we love them and what we feel. But if you look in the dictionary and go through lots of definitions, all that comes up are blue jeans are trousers made of strong blue cotton or close-fitting trousers made of blue denim and fabric reinforced with rivets. There's nothing that mentions indigo, which is really interesting. So if you're looking at blue jeans, the definition doesn't include what we actually love so much about the product. So when I look at traditional indigo, you saw that lovely video, but if I look back to what indigo is to me, it's obviously, we have it in our blood, all of us. But if you look back to ancient times, it's a very, very special dye stuff. The samurais used it to heal their wounds. It's flame retardant. It has like healing properties. It's great with skin disorders, eczema. It's got odor preventing. It's more than just a color. It's actually something that is holistic and a special dye stuff. So it has so many special values. So blue jeans to me are a product that, I don't know, they make you feel special. They make you feel great. They make you feel confident. They have something extra about them. And indigo brings that. But I think the mass market, if I look at it today, indigo jeans are just a blue jean, and we spend our whole lives taking off a synthetic dye stuff, using all these chemicals to create something else. And I think we have to start to bring back some love into indigo, and we have to really like educate people what indigo is all about and the properties of it.
Yeah, we will have discussions about that. I mean, how can we manage indigo in a way that, it's a dye not only from the past, it's also a dye from the future. Gunther, what is blue jeans? What is blue denim for you?
For me personally, it's we have to think about, it's just one dye stuff. It's just one dye, indigo. But when we are looking, but when we are looking to the market, what we can see and what is coming out of this one dye stuff, then it's really great, because you can do it in pale, you can do it in dark, you can make it bleaching, you can individualize this for every single human. And I think this is the story behind indigo, that no one jeans is looking like the other one. It's not uniform. So therefore, it is a creative dye which is allowing you a lot of things doing, which you cannot do with other dyes.
That's correct. And Kursat, when you hear the words blue denim or blue jeans, what comes to your mind?
Yeah, for me, denim is a lifestyle, and behind instead of that, once I heard the denim, immediately indigo and cotton coming into my mind, and basically freedom also. The most inspirational part is that, as Gunther correctly explained, I think because of that, most of the people likes the denim, because it's aging differently. So, and if you will buy the same pair of jeans, by the time it will be totally different. That's why we are feeling the freedom because of that.
It grows old. It gets old with you. It evolves with you. Okay, that's something very special on jeans, that you become kind of partners. You grow old with your denims. Okay. The second question I would like to ask you is okay. So it's a dye stuff, as Gunther mentioned, and okay, it's a very old dye stuff and everything. But why is indigo so special? What is that connection between indigo and denim so special? What makes indigo so unique for denim? Let's start with Gunther this time.
Okay. Let me come from the dye stuff itself. It's very old. More than 7,000 years it is known indigo can be produced, or is it known? Let me say in that way. On the other hand, 125 years ago, the chemical synthesis of this indigo was detected. And for me, the special story is, bottom line, it is a real bad dye stuff, with bad crocking fastness, with bad bleaching behaviors, with a lot of stories which the conventional textile industry don't like. Because a rubbing fastness of a number of 2, no one will accept that. But on the other hand, if we don't have these properties from the indigo, we would not be able to make all this creativity with. So we need them to have it on the surface of the denim, of the fibers. We need them to have bad crocking fastness, to be able to scribe it very fast. We need to have it in bad bleach properties, to make it simple to bring it down also locally, partially, or totally from the denim. So the speciality is, on one hand, the properties are bad, but we need these bad properties for doing all this creativity.
That's interesting. Yeah, we need those. It's bad, but we need these bad properties. That's a good way of. Kursat, what makes indigo so special on denim? Kursat is fixing something. Yeah. So Kursat, what makes indigo so special on denim, in your opinion?
First of all, the rubbing fastness, I think it's the most crucial feature of the indigo. Actually, it's a bad feature, but what makes it special, so special? Even some sulfur also acting in a similar way, but the blue color, it's aging, and you can see sky blues, you can see similar to the dark black shades also you can handle. That's why it's so special for me.
Yeah, okay. And Salli, I mean, it's really special because, as Gunther mentioned, rubbing fastness is something that, okay, we accept because that's the way it is. So we sacrifice certain functional properties for having, nice look. So what makes indigo special on denim, so unique?
There's nothing else that can color change like indigo. So you look at the guys that do all the fades, how it naturally fades, how it adopts your style. Every single thing you encounter with your life can braid the indigo in different ways. I mean, it adopts your DNA and tells your story, and there's not any other dye stuff that does that. And we use so many different tools to change the color of the indigo, pumice, from bleaches, from chemicals, all these things. And every time anything can change, every different lot can be a different shade. There's so much you can do with it. We actually give ourselves, our industry has the hardest challenge of trying to make things consistent. But indigo tells its own story and it changes color as it wants to do. As I say, it's like, I love, I think there's a piece around fades and natural fades and also working with natural indigo that we need to get out as a message to everybody of what this wonderful dye stuff is. As I mentioned before, it's got so many more properties and that makes it so unique. It is grown, it is a plant, and it has all these special attributes that we can use. And indigo is quite special.
Yes, it is. It is. Actually, we accept, I think denim is the only type of article. We accept ribs, we accept, broken ends, and we accept bad rubbing fastness, and we accept that the garment is, can look terrible, but we accept that because we love it, because it's part of our life.
The imperfections.
That's the word.
That's exactly what makes denim so beautiful. It's the mistakes that make it extra special and unique, and we all want that one piece that's completely unique. So
imperfections. We accept it. We accept denim and indigo, with these imperfections, because we think that that makes the added value, the value of the article higher. Gunther, we are going to go for, let's say, kind of double question. How many types of indigo are available in the market currently?
The types of indigo are just indigo. So there are, let me see, another indigo on the market. This is called it 4B. This is a brominated indigo, which is giving a little bit a more brightish, bluish shade. And this 4B or this brominated indigo is more like a wet dye. It's not really a typical indigo, but nevertheless, it is coming from indigo, and so therefore it is indigo. There are also a 2B version, but all of them are brominated, and the shade is looking a little bit different. But I think you ask regarding commercial forms.
Commercial form.
Yeah. Right. Okay. At first, we have to see indigo is produced in powder form mainly, or let me say exclusively, in China. So there are no other producers beside us in Germany. They are producing indigo. So all the indigo which is coming beside from us is coming from China, and all of them is more or less produced in powder form. So this powder form needs to be reduced by the dyer with caustic and hydrosulfide to be applicable. Otherwise, you cannot use that because the indigo in the powder form, in a pigment form, is not having any affinity or willingness to go to cotton or to fix on cotton. So it needs to be reduced by caustic and hydrosulfide when we are looking to this powder form. The other forms which are on the market are the pre-reduced forms, like our dye as well. And some other competitors are having this as well in India, as well as in Pakistan. They are producing pre-reduced indigo. Our indigo is produced from, our pre-reduced indigo is produced from our indigo from Ludwigshafen, Germany. And the other ones are using the powder from China and making a hydrogenation. So call it hydrogenation. So that means this powder indigo will be reduced by hydrogen, and it's getting then the soluble leuco form, which is then applicable directly. So the dyers don't need to have to reduce this dye stuff by caustic and hydrosulfide because it is reduced, pre-reduced. It is reduced and can be used directly. There are 30% versions on the market. Ours is 40% because of a patent which is expired meanwhile. And so everybody could do a 40% as well. The main competition of us is doing the 30%.
But there are also other types like a dispersion, right? Indigo in dispersed form, for example.
Yeah, there is so-called indigo coat, or you can use it as a pigment. You can use it as really as a pigment. You can coat this as a pigment and bind this with a binder, make a curing and fix this indigo pigment as well. But this is a real pigment application, nothing to do really with indigo, and the properties are also different. It is indigo, and you will identify as indigo, and you can do as it is indigo, but it is not reduced in this pre-reduced form. The market share, let me say, is small of this indigo coat or indigo in pigment form.
Okay. We will have a question about natural indigo later in the panel, just to also explain or understand what is the importance and the possibilities of natural indigo in the current market. Salli, Kursat, have you detected any differences when you do a development, or Kursat, when it's applied between different indigo, synthetic powder, synthetic granules, produced with catalytic hydrogenation? Do you think that there are differences on the looks, on the shades, on the aspect of the fabrics, depending on the type of indigo that is used?
Definitely, there is a little bit of a difference. I think the mills have refined the way they dye and the way they produce the fabrics these days that is very minimal for us to notice. There's definitely a lot more in terms of like waste as well when we're processing it, and in terms of effluents. So for me, the way I'm approaching it at the moment, in terms of not necessarily in terms of the dye stuff, but in the way the yarns are being dyed, we're looking for dyes that respond really well, and the way that the yarns are dyed so we can use the new technologies that are available to us. So yeah, I think the way the way that we have approached it in terms of, like, as I say, dye selection and dye shade, we're seeing so many different products on the market now, and the way that sorry, I just gone really like
no problem, Salli.
Really threw me there. I'd like prepared my questions in a different order, but anyway, it's fine.
No problem.
Yeah, no. So coming back to it, so yes, as I say, it's taking the dye stuffs now, analyzing them so they're suitable to wash in a better environment and wash in the new technology that we have. So yeah, that was a very bad answer to that question. Sorry.
No, Salli, it was a great answer. We will come back to your point in a couple of minutes. So, Kursat, Kursat is gone.
We lost him again.
Okay, no problem. I think we can move on to the next section, which is about challenges. We will skip one video.
Miguel, just perhaps another statement to the difference of indigo. The main difference when we are talking about this powder indigo and the pre-reduced forms is the huge quantity difference of salt which is produced during this reduction with hydrosulfide and caustic. And when we are thinking on this salt is having always an influence on shade and depth of shade. So the outlook or the outcome of a pre-reduced indigo is slightly different than from a powder. But this powder is producing huge quantities of salt, which is going directly to the wastewater, no?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's a very important difference. That's right. Let's move to the challenges and problems. So we will play a video now. We will skip one of the videos that we had ready. We will move to the next one about pollution or water consumption. So John, can you please play? Thank you.
Dr. Rebecca Van Amber has been researching the environmental and social impact of denim for years. She says the fashion for sandblasting, distressing and fading our jeans has huge consequences.
Dyeing is definitely one of the worst aspects. It produces a lot of effluent, and the effluent is really toxic because of the dye and the salt used in the dyeing process. A lot of the dyeing is done in places like China, and the dyeing effluent or wastewater from the dyeing process is simply put straight into the streams, so it contaminates the local people's drinking water.
Well, 3 clips showing bad things of indigo, but claims about indigo. So the first lady said that it's toxic. It's bad. We saw a part of a denim range with the ropes moving up and down. Everything is black. And then we saw this crazy application of permanganate. Not crazy because of the permanganate, it's crazy application of it. Kursat, that question goes for you again. So is indigo application as dirty as is still claimed by many people? I mean, you see that indigo requires kiloliters of water, cubic meters of water, and you have seen the video. Is everything is dark, and how dirty is really indigo application today?
Actually, what I can say for that, because most probably they are also counting the growing stage of the cotton itself. That's why these numbers are a little bit inflated, and there are so many discrepancies in between numbers, and no one is not supporting their statements. They are saying just, okay, some numbers, you can search on the Google and you can see different numbers, but in process stage, and all those numbers somehow is related with, how can I say, is promoted a kind of consequence of the indigo dyeing itself, but actually is not reflecting the truth, because what I can say simply, they can keep in their mind, our audience keep in mind roughly 20 liters of water is consumed per 1 meter of fabric, indigo denim fabric. You can keep in mind like that. And on the other hand, if you will search on the Google, you will see some 3,500 liters, 11,000 liters. These are the numbers which they also put the growing stage of the cotton into their considerations. This is the main difference. But process itself just around about 20 liters per meter of fabric. And just for your information, one pair of jeans is made of 1.25 meter of fabric. It's consumed that much. So simply, we can keep like this, 25 liters per pairs of jeans.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, on process water, I mean, what are these used during the application?
Yeah, this fabric stage. Totally, not total, because in the laundry stage, I think Salli can make better statements.
No, I mean, there was the water that is used on the range, okay, along the range of the warp dyeing. Okay.
Not only warp dyeing, even I'm putting the processing, a basic processing of the fabric, such as singeing and washing and drying also. Yeah, and also we are using mostly the steam, and also I'm also putting steam consumption into my consideration, and overall consumption is like that. But if you would like to focus on only dyeing itself, I can say roughly it's around 10 liters per meter, because we are only dyeing, generally we are only dyeing the warp part of the fabric.
Yeah, okay, that's good, because that's very different to these 11,000 liters, as you mentioned, or 3,471 liters that there's some LCA, something like that. They all consider time, as you said. But it has to be a skip. There has to be something that also goes in a different box, because the application of Indigo is...
because mainly we are also eating some wheat. We are also drinking beer, and all those kind of agricultural components also consuming more or less similar quantity of the water compared to cotton. That's why I'm generally ignoring that part. This is the truth. Okay. What I can say.
There is this. So you say that there is there is some need of actual figures to be calculated specifically for the application. Okay, I said fiber is fiber, and then we're going to dye and weave and make the finishing of the fabric and all that. And you suggest, or you think that it will be important to have proper figures, establishing figures of this is actually what is required with tolerances, with models. Okay. Yeah, there is not many studies around that. Yeah.
This is not maybe this may not make sense because many people hear many different things from related to that aspect, but each and every technical person will agree with me. I'm 100% sure about that.
Yes. Okay. That's a change on the paradigm. And Salli, we have seen when denim is developed as a garment to be presented to the end consumer, you saw the video. Okay, this guy is spraying permanganate just like that. I mean, without any protection. So is Indigo, that does Indigo require this type of chemicals, okay, to give the looks that the designers and developers are looking for? Because the people are claiming of permanganate and hypochlorite, which okay, this is a more operational issues, okay, for the workers. There is nothing in principle for the consumers in principle. So I mean, how do you see the need of these heavy chemicals to produce the styles, the looks that the designers and developers have in mind? Because sometimes it's impossible to replicate.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is. And I think the industry's come together to work together. So the equipment producers, the chemists, and the dyers and everybody have come together to try and find solutions to reduce the amount of chemicals in laundry, the amount of water and everything. But we're not truly there yet. I think there's an upside and a downside to everything we see. So if we start to look at starting to use laser, no matter how much we try, the level of graphic input now is incredible on some of the lasers, but we still can't replicate the true a resonated jean with a scrape. We're still not getting that premium look. It's really hard to get it out of a laser file. So I think on a mass market level, yes, we can make it commercial, but in a true, beautiful gene, we can't, and you still need these products. In terms of PP alternatives, yes, we're all playing around with them. There are different ones on the market. Some of them, from what I hear, are throwing the pH scarily high, and it starts to be quite aggressive and corrosive on the fabric. So again, it's out there. I've done tests for different companies, for people. It's a struggle for the buyers to get their head around it, but mainly because of the financial part. I think if you compare it to PP that we're using every day, and the cost is still, it's still making it very prohibitive to move to these chemicals. And also they're so lengthy, the processes as well that go with a lot of these applications. So some of them, you know, spray, dry, lots of different processes are involved in using a PP replacement. So again, it's not quite there. And also, like, we've had this conversation, Miguel, how bad is PP if it's used in the right environment? How really, truly dangerous is it? There's a big question to be answered. In terms of laundry as well, you know, when I talk to the big laundries out there, they're still only using a small quantity of fake stones. It's definitely there, but pumice is still, that look is still required at the moment. So again, aesthetically, buyers and people are not accepting completely fake stones, although with the combination of enzymes and stones and various things in the machine, I believe we can achieve a really commercial look. So yeah, and now we're getting to the territory with ozone, which, I mean, ozone's been around for years. It's one of the oldest things we've used because we used to use it for backstaining problems and things like that, yes, you know, from years ago. So it's a technology that's been around in the industry that has evolved. Again, it's more cost effective, which is important in the world I live in mass market, because it's a gas that's generated. And I think we're seeing a lot more innovations in that, in terms of wet and dry. And now with the activator products that are coming to market, that are accelerating it, stopping it casting grey, giving it a better blue cast, I think we're just starting to understand and see the benefits ozone can bring. So I see that probably as one of the more dynamic and exciting technologies that we're using. I think sometimes we make it very difficult for ourselves by trying to invent a chemical and a different way of doing an existing product. Maybe we need to start looking back for alternatives, look at different solutions. I don't know.
We have no, Salli, we have a question on, this is the part of the challenge and solutions, and these comments that you were going to add, they are going to be very good for the solutions part, which is coming in a few minutes. Gunther, I have to ask you about a topic that was, you know, kind of shocking the world a few years ago. So there was the issue about aniline in India, and being aniline, you know, a mine that is suspected to be carcinogenic by the IARC and also by GHS, and people were kind of shocked to learn that that aniline was on the indigo. What is the position of Dystar regarding aniline in India?
At first, I have to say, it is really complex, the topic of aniline, because it starts with the analytical story. When we measure indigo powder, for an example, and extract this just by a solvent or just by water, then we will not detect a lot of aniline. This will get, let me say, 30 ppm, something like this. This is close to nothing, let me say in that way. But, and this is also a COA which you can get from Chinese suppliers, that their indigo is fine, and they have no issue with aniline on their indigo. But now we are coming to the reality and the truth behind. This indigo in this powder form cannot be applied on a textile. So that needs to be opened by this reduction step, what I mentioned earlier. And then when it's opened, coming to this leucoform in the open form, then 10,000 to, in some cases, 15,000, in worst cases, to 20,000 ppm can be happened in this indigo. And this is getting critical because the people, they are working with this indigo, they are breathing that. And this is then really critical for the people, they are working with this powder indigo. going back and going to the next step, to this pre-reduced indigo form, which is always in liquid form available. So at first we have to say no one can breathe that because it is liquid. And on the other hand, it is directly dosed to the dyeing machine and diluted to the dyeing machine. And this aniline, which is coming in from this powder, basically, is going then to the mill and finally to the wastewater. And if a wastewater treatment plant is working quite well, then aniline in this wastewater is not a topic. This will be solved very easily. And if aniline or if a wastewater treatment plant is working, then you will not detect any aniline after the wastewater treatment plant. Perhaps for your information as well, aniline is used as a detection agent for looking how good wastewater treatment plants are working. So you put some aniline in the beginning of the wastewater, and afterwards you can easily detect if this wastewater treatment plant is working quite well or not. So we, as Dystar, our indigo pre-reduced, what we are having since 25 years on the market, is aniline reduced to a certain amount where no one, neither the people in the dye houses, nor the wastewater, nor the textile which is coming finally out is getting any problem. Okay. So we are talking in our case not about 10,000 to 20,000. We are talking in our case about roughly 600 to 700, something like this.
Let me ask you a quick question about that. Should brands or end consumers be concerned about remaining aniline on the jeans?
No. There is a nice letter from Phil Patterson, aniline free and nice or needless or something like this, and he calculated out that somebody needs to eat I think 68 pairs of jeans to be in danger with this arrest of aniline. But I'm quite sure these people will have other problems by eating denims. So therefore, it is not a single case known to me or known in the literature that somebody is getting any problems with aniline, which is coming from the denims, to get in healthy risk or something like this. It's not known to me. And presently, you know that ZDHC and other organizations, Blue Science, something like this, are discussing also with us, also with the other producers of indigo, which level of aniline makes sense to fix it, to have it on a comparable level and to have it on a lower level, which makes sense. It makes no sense to have this powder using because of the people that can breathe that. No?
Yeah, that's right. It's a complex issue, and people need to be.
Yeah, it's complex. Yeah.
Align on the tolerances and everything. There are different tolerances, and this is kind of unacceptable. There are different tolerances for something like aniline.
Let me make one statement regarding the image of the denim industry. You haven't asked me before of this session. Yes, the denim industry is having a bad image, but in my view, the denim, especially the denim dyeing industry, must not have this, should not have this bad image, because as Kursat mentioned, the water consumption on a denim mill is not really high. On a denim dyeing section is not really high. The dye stuff itself, the indigo itself, is having a fixation rate of roughly 98%. Or 97%. So that means only 3% of this blue dye is going via the fiber to the wastewater, finally. And so therefore, these blue streams are coming mainly from bad
operated mills.
Mills, which is on the garment side, and also the wash water consumption and water consumption is coming from the old styles of garment washing, and not really from the denim mills. And when looking to the newspapers all the time, when we are having any news in, let me say, Bangladesh, for an example, what's happened? Denim mills are involved, no? Because of the quantities. And so the image is bad.
Yeah, that's true. It's very visual. Okay.
Yeah.
But by the way, Gunther, that was a good thing because we can bridge now with this next section that is about solutions or possibilities. So let's play a video.
We've heard it before. This is business as usual. This is how you make a pair of jeans. Don't try to change it. Accept it, because denim is filthy business. But the soul of denim has always been about change. Denim is for the folks that ask the tough questions. Blue jeans are about powerful words, backed by action. About taking a stand, finding new paths, new directions, and new solutions. We're making jeans that are clean, but still have soul. We're taking the lead, putting them on, buttoning them up, and getting it done. Because denim is filthy business, we are changing it.
Well, that was a clip from Patagonia. It's relatively old, but I took that sentence that the denim is filthy business. Okay, is promotion. Is interesting. And let's talk about solutions. Let's try to discuss and figure out solutions so denim is not that filthy as claimed by Patagonia. So this time I will start with Kursat. Okay, Kursat, there are some ways to reduce impact. Okay, in terms of water and resources used and everything, and some of them they sound like miracles. Okay, so in your opinion, what is the way? What are the next steps to improve the application of Indigo, to reduce the resources required for the application of Indigo?
First of all, I would like to just briefly mention about the Indigo dye stuff itself. For me also, I think the dye stuff suppliers also now, they're doing their best, because this is the most logical thing how to apply the Indigo. Reduced form, I'm fond of that, because mostly you are eliminating the salt. There's a salt generation because of the process itself, which is inevitable, but we can avoid to reduce the Indigo itself on the mill stage, and Dystar and the other competitors also making their best in that regard. So first of all, the produced Indigo is the best. And processing stage, still what we can do, you can recycle the water consumption, and mainly how we are using the water, especially on the washing stage, we are using the water. And the water which I mentioned a few minutes, 10 to 15 minutes back, was totally coming from that part. And for that, what you can do, you cannot reduce the quantity of the water. Till some certain extent you can reduce, because for washing off, you need some media, and our media is water. That's why for dyeing, you need water. And for washing off, you need alternatives with water, hot water or cold water, and some physical effects. And physical effects are limited because eventually we are dyeing the blocks, and it's not naturally fitting with the process itself. That's why we can reduce the temperature for gaining some, for reducing the impact, overall impact. And for that, we announced as our company, and some other companies also announced that ultrasonic wash. And I also would like to highlight that ultrasonic is not a magic, and we cannot dye with ultrasonic itself. Again, we need alkali, we need hydrosulfide or some other reducing agent, and also Indigo itself.
Let me Kursat, what you said about ultrasound dyeing. I mean, you say that this is not possible, right?
Along with only ultrasonic plates, transducers, it's not possible. What makes it's good, because it's increasing the intensity, and by deploying the ultrasonic plates, you can reduce the temperature. It's direct saving, and you can also reduce some chemicals, some surface surfactants. So you can reduce those kind of chemicals, and mainly temperature itself. That's all. And the trough size also limited. That's another benefit, but as per my opinion, it's not. It doesn't make sense, bigger sense, because in the end, we should focus on that. How much water you are feeding and how much water you are discharging. This is the important part.
Okay, let me ask you about another type of application of indigo that is, been around for, I don't know, 3-4 years now. It's about the foam application. Okay? Applying indigo on foam. How do you see foam application? As a expert on indigo application, how do you see possibility?
Yeah, compared to conventional way of dyeing the indigo in the foam, mostly we are deploying some air. And mostly in that case, for indigo case, we are using nitrogen itself, because nitrogen is avoiding quick oxidation of the indigo. So still, it's possible to dye under the nitrogen ambient. Instead of air, we are using nitrogen, but I will call this as air and water combination. And in that case, water combination, water will be only 20%, around about 20%. Instead of conventional dyeing, you can suppose if it's 5% indigo, you can roughly suppose 95% water. And in that case, in foam case, it's just 20% water. That makes sense. But again, till some certain extent, because the washing stage is important. Because mostly we are using the water during the washing stage, not processing stage, because processing stage, we are preparing the troughs and we are filling the troughs with the indigo liquor, for instance, 1.5 gram per liter or 3 gram per liter, whatever it is. But we are not discharging that. We are using that again and again. Even you can use many years.
Exactly, using the indigo back.
Because we are taking it back and we are keeping in the storage tanks and we are using again.
So, okay, then I'm going with Salli. Yeah, so what chemicals you think are, solutions to replace or to obtain new looks and everything? What type of things, can develop denim, keep developing denim in the right direction? What do you think?
I was going to come back and say, like, the foam dyeing is like we're seeing changes and solutions all over the industry. So foam dyeing is one, the smart indigo, and like things like Kadira from Dystar, where we're eliminating salts and all those wonderful projects we've seen. So every mill is creating a new way of doing it, and like the recycling of the dye stuff, we're hearing about that all the time as well. So there's lots of solutions. Our industry has been so proactive. You mentioned Bangladesh as well, and it's like we have had very negative press, but oh my God, the change in the big factories that I work with out there over the last decade has been incredible, and everybody needs applauding for the energy and the effort they've put in, and the water reduction as well. So we're seeing a huge amount of water reduction. Going forward, I think it's, for me, projects that are quite interesting, and I think about the future of indigo are things like what Hue have done, where they're bioengineering, they're working with microbes, they're feeding them sugar, and they're producing dye stuff or stuff that mimics dye stuff. So I'm not quite sure where Gunther is on that one. It's a conversation we should have had. It would be really interesting to see how he feels about that. But the fact that we're looking at biomimicry and we're looking to nature for solutions, I definitely think is a way forward. I know we've had discussions with people about, the impact light change on denim. Obviously, we know it fades there. Is there something atmospheric that we could start to look at? I mean, it's real future thinking, but we do need to think differently, because, our industry is trying to find as many solutions as they can. And I think there's things that we haven't considered from outside of our industry as well. So rather than trying to replace a PP with another chemical, is there another way of approaching it? As I say, we go back to the ozone there. And I think there's a piece around going back to marketing the beauty of indigo as well to the customers. As I say, for me, it's like demand comes from people, and we have to look at what the customer wants. And the more we educate them on the beauty and the values of indigo, the more we're going to be able to work in a better way as well. I know we discussed this briefly before the thing, but I was highlighting the digital printing going on. We're starting to see amazing innovations in digital printing. And if you think about the customer's lack of awareness of indigo and what it is, and if they just want a blue jean that looks faded, is that a more sustainable approach to indigo? it has to be considered. We're seeing Rag & Bone, we're seeing Aggiano coming up with a printed wash jean. So there's lots of different ways of approaching it at the moment, and some real innovative future thinking out there.
Yeah, it's good to have options, right? And then we will see which one is the best one to go.
Yeah.
Gunther, do you foresee any improvement on the indigo as a dyestuff in the future in any way? Something that, change the indigo?
Back to the history, this synthesis indigo is now 125 years old. And let me say, this is really on the end of the development. There is nothing to find, there is nothing to optimize. It is really on the end. But what is not on the end is the application. And as Kursat mentioned, we are also able to filter out the indigo from the wash water and reuse that indigo, or reuse this water, which is absolutely clean. And no other industry can do that, because all others are having always mixtures of dyestuffs inside. And we are having just indigo, nothing else. And we can regain that. Or for an example, spray dyeing, foam dyeing, all these applications are going to the direction to reduce waste, to reduce water consumption, to reduce the indigo, or bring the indigo in a different way to the surface of the fiber, which is okay. All these things have to be developed further. And the next step, for sure, this will come, as Salli mentioned, the biological indigo produced by sugar molecule. Several people, organizations are working on that. I'm not allowed to talk too much about. But on the other hand, there are patents, expired patents from DuPont, Genicor and DuPont on the market. And they start 25 years ago or 20 years ago to develop that. And the time will come where somebody is able to make also this sugar molecule possible to produce indigo on a quantity, on a level which is also commercially reliable or fit for the market, because it makes no sense to produce an indigo which is costing $100 per kg. Make no sense. We are talking about presently about $10. So it makes no sense, because otherwise no one will use it. Well,
no, it's a luxury.
Yeah, it would be a luxury and would be perhaps a niche, but when we are thinking on this denim market, we need not to have a niche, we need to have a real quantities. And
yeah, we're talking about a market that is what, 70,000 tons of indigo granular equivalent, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So we're coming to the point of conclusions, and here I would like to ask each of you. But first, I will go to ask a question. It's about the future of indigo. I mean, the question that I would like to ask you specifically is, do you foresee indigo and denim kind of splitting? You mentioned, Salli, the digital printing. So do you see like indigo and denim, at least for mass fashion, is they're going in different directions? What will be the future of indigo in that case?
I do. I think if I look at the customer base and we look at like the mass market and retailers who are churning jeans left, right and center, I do think the more sustainable approach maybe is to explore that digital route. We know a lot of big companies are working with innovation on that level, especially as we get into the metaverse, and don't get me started on that one, but people designing their own products. But I think there is such a lack of knowledge that a jean, going back to what is a jean, it's a blue denim trouser. So that could be a blue denim look, a wash effect printed on an ecru twill rather than that. But as I say, there will always be indigo, there will always be jeans, we love it, there's always that market. But at a high volume, basic, taking that god-awful jegging business and things like that, but would that be a more sustainable approach for high volume denim to do something like that? And it is a separation of what is denim. I mean, people always say to me, I want a coloured denim, and it's obviously, we all know it's a very different process and treatment, but it's still classed as denim. So is there true indigo denim, and is there blue jeans? That's my question.
Yeah, we're going back to the first question. Yeah. That's right. Gunther, could denim survive without denim?
Let me follow to the statement of Salli. This thinking is just because there is no indigo on the market which can be printed digital presently. But I'm a developer, so therefore let me think 5 years more. Let me think perhaps 10 years more, and somebody will detect how to print an indigo digital. And then we would have both. We would have a digital print with indigo, and the surviving article, the moving article, and all these inspirations and creativity can be done with indigo later on as well. And I'm quite sure this will come.
It's a good line. I mean, okay, we have a good technology on printing, and so we need a product that fits that technology.
A development on the machinery side, the chemistry have to follow and have to assist that with good products. Huh?
And Kursat, what's the future of indigo on your view? I mean, do we have to go for new applications? Is new product? The efforts that you are doing on the machinery, engineering, how do you see the future of indigo in our industry?
I think there are many things should be done on especially the washing stage, and as Salli also mentioned correctly, I think the most and biggest innovation for me, the laser technology and ozone on the washing stage. If we will eliminate those the washing stage and we can make it shorten with that two technology, with laser and ozone, I think it will be good enough for this stage. And on fabric production side, I can say I think it's not bad as of now. As in general opinion, it looks bad, but it's not bad that much. Foam application will be promising in short term. And maybe in long term, digital printing will be also come on the table. But again, our focus should be consuming less indigo and designing better denim fabrics, better jeans. And rather than mass market tendencies, we should follow the other way. And each and every pair of jeans should be customized and should be sold in a higher value, so everyone can make the benefit. I think this is the practical solution.
I fully agree. I think one of the problems we have with the indigo or denim in general is that most of the end consumers do not consider denim as a high added value product. Okay? They don't see the value behind a pair of jeans because the brands that are promoting it, they don't show where the value. Okay, they show the price, coming on the price. So there's a lot of work to do.
There's a piece around redefining trends, so that trends are like created by us. We create denim trends like, dishwasher fashion. If we actually go back to the beauty, like I said at the beginning, the holistic properties, the world is changing, especially post-COVID, and people see the benefits of natural dyes, of, better fabrics, better things. If we start to promote that and promote the story of fades and what indigo can bring to you, how your jeans are special, if we promote that as a trend and educate the customers, we stand a chance of moving industry much further forward, definitely.
That would be great if the consumers understand the value of what they are buying and they ask for better quality and more information and higher standards and everything. That would be great. With that, okay, now we have time for some call for action or deep message or communication that you would like to say. So the mic is yours. So if you want to say something to our audience, just go ahead, please. Kursat, please say whatever you want to say.
Yeah, just as not only an industry peer, just as a consumer, I'm fond of high value added jeans. That's why I recommend to our audience also to consume value added products, not the cheap ones. I do not recommend them to follow the mass market.
Okay, that's a good thing. Okay, the idea, so Kursat, we need to go on real denim and paint the real value for what it is, okay? More than using a denim as Kleenex, okay? A buy and throw.
Salli, one last thing, I recommend to use as raw denim, not washed one.
You're a purist like me, okay? we only wear rigids. Yeah, that's true. Salli, what will be your call for action? Your call for your message to the audience, to the market? What is your what you would like to pass on?
My passion is to, this is why we're trying to put a laundry here as well in the UK, is to educate people on what denim is, how we make it, how we produce it, what is the harm, I mean, and the waste as well. I mean, the amount of jeans that have been discarded and thrown away and just heading for landfill is shocking. So we're trying to put a stop in that and try and do something with it, because for me, secondhand throwaway denim is wonderful. It's a great untapped resource. I buy most of my jeans, as a lot of us do, vintage and secondhand. And it's like educating people on that, you know, it's not a throwaway, it's not disposable. And, you know, all of us know we hunt and we look for those special pieces. So what makes denim really unique? So we have to educate everybody. Our industry is art, basically. Oh, we love to think of it as art. But yeah, no, education. As I say, when I put a laser video up on my Instagram or something, the amount of people that come back who go, oh my God, is that what you do with denim? And people don't know the, you know, lengths we go to replicate these finishes and the things that we use. So yeah, if I could change something, there's one message: everybody should have an induction in denim before they're allowed to buy it.
Yeah, I like, but yeah, that point that denim shouldn't be you know, disposable type of article. Okay, so then it should be treated by brands and mass fashioners as something of real value. I mean, we need to work on a way that end consumers understand the value. Come on, there is a value, there is an effort. There are a lot of people around denim, so it cannot be that denim is just a buy and throw. That's wrong.
People are getting the message. I share a studio with Janelle from White Weft, and she's doing lots of repairs at the moment, and she's so busy. People are starting to appreciate a great pair of jeans and repair them, and that is a massive shift we're finding, and it's really important.
Yeah, but Salli, it makes sense to repair a very good pair of jeans that you're close to, or a pair of jeans that was, you know, expensive. But okay, you find jeans now for $10 a pair. So are you going to fix that?
That's what I'm saying. Maybe we need to approach it in a different way. Maybe those high volume jeans that we talk about that are, unfortunately, they are mass volume. Maybe we should be approaching that in a completely different way. Like, can we do something else rather than invest all that money, technology, everything in pure indigo, wash it all away, create waste, which I know we're cleaning it up and we're doing everything we can to, but is there another way to produce the mass product so we can really maintain the true value in what we do?
Yes, that's right, Salli. Gunther, one sentence that summarizes your spirit, because we have questions waiting for us. Please.
I would divide this at first to our customers, users of indigo, not only ours, all the users of indigo, the denim industry, let me say in that way. There are a lot of possibilities to use the denim, the indigo in a different way, in use ways, in modern ways, like our Kadira, what we tell without salt, the aniline reduced indigo, and so on, filtration of wash water, and so on. Let's do it. Don't wait for any time. Let's do it. Let's start to turn this boat to a better image. And to the retailers, I would say, brands and retailers, I would say, don't be worried about 10 cents for a pair of jeans more of money.
Yes, that's a good
request only for good, environmental friendly produced denims. Right. And my dream finally on the end consumer would be there should be only good, environmental friendly produced denims on the market, nothing else. And not
we all agree.
And the end consumer have not to decide, is this a good one or is this a bad one? There should be only good ones on the market.
I agree. That's a very good end point for our discussion. Now it's time to move to the questions, if there are any questions. So Annie, welcome back.
Hello, I am back. So we do have a couple of questions, three of them, but two which are surrounding kind of lab-based and bacterial indigo. So the question, I know we briefly mentioned this, but what it's surrounding is, how long do we think it's going to take and how far away are we from mass production? Will it be in the next 10 years, or can you give any insight into maybe how long it will take for it to reach the masses?
Looking back to the history of the production of indigo, the synthesis, it took 15 to 20 years to have from the development, from the detection to the mass production. And for sure, we don't have time for the next 20 years. But nevertheless, I see a period of at least 10 years to have it real in quantities available, indigo, which is produced from bacteria.
Okay, 10 years. And any other one want to comment on that or give their opinion in terms of time and length?
It's biotechnology. It's not easy to scale up. But Salli, Kursat, so moving on new styles of indigo, how long would it take until they are reaching the say industrial level?
On what the bacteria denim, I honestly don't know the answer to that, being really honest. I don't know. I've seen it coming to market, as like Gunther pointed out, it's experimental stage, but scaling that to mass production, I honestly don't know the complexities involved in that level of scaling it up.
I think I agree with Mr. Gunther because he made a good statement, and I think he is the most qualified most qualified person among us. That's why we should agree with him.
What do you like to drink?
So any more questions, Annie?
So it's hopeful, but yes, there's one more note on that. So Mohsen also mentioned that there's natural indigo solutions on the market as well. Stony Creek is one of them. How viable are these solutions? Will we see it on the mass market, etc.?
That's a good question.
Yeah, usually I'm not allowed to talk about a competitor.
It's not a competitor, Gunther, don't worry, it's not a competitor of you.
Bottom line, it's a producer of indigo, and so therefore I would see it as competitor as well. Bottom line, when I'm talking as Gunther, and not in the view of Dystar, as Gunther, it's a good development, and it's nice to have it on board as well, the natural indigo. Looking to the quantities on the worldwide basis, I like to have a question mark, or I will have a question mark, how they will produce 70,000 tons on the market. For special collections, for niches, for natural niches, or whatever it is called, however you call that, it's nice, it's good, do it. Don't forget, this indigo needs to be reduced, and don't use hydrosulfide and caustic, because otherwise you destroy your good story with that. But this is just a side comment from
the application is the same. This is right.
The application is the same. And bottom line, you cannot identify if the denim is produced with a natural indigo or with a synthetic indigo when you're looking to the denim finally.
No, you cannot distinguish molecule to molecule.
Yeah. Exactly the same. Indigo is indigo in that case.
That's only one thing. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So, any more questions, Ade?
There are. Do we have time for one more? I think we do.
I think we have one.
I think we do. There's one specific question about the smart indigo system. So, can you please share the benefits / problems of using the smart indigo system of reducing indigo and avoiding the use of hydro?
That's another one for Gunther.
Yeah, again, doesn't matter. Smart indigo is as well another option, another possibility to make the reduction of indigo from this powder form, to make the reduction itself. So to reduce the caustic and hydro. And bottom line, it is coming more or less to the same level than the pre-reduced indigo which are on the market. So it is fine when we are comparing this instead of powder or using powder. It is more or less on the same level when we are comparing this with pre-reduced indigos on the market. Just in short words.
I have a small question on that. We spoke about aniline. On that. Do you think, I mean, we take granules from China, but we go for smart indigo electrochemistry, chemical reduction. What about aniline content coming from the...
In case of smart indigo, you mean? Yeah. All what is inside the indigo pigment will be transformed to the liquid and will go into the liquid. Yes. The only way to bring the aniline out would be a further or additional step, which is needed after the reduction. So let me say in that way, at first, this is the pigment. When it is open, doesn't matter by caustic hydro, by hydrogen or electricity wise, then the aniline is free, available. And with this aniline, which is around, somebody have to work with. Otherwise, this will not go to the air. This will not go to the waste automatically. So it needs to be reduced.
You need another step like nitrogen stripping or something like that.
Whatever, there are various options possible, but it needs to be done.
That's all the time we have for questions, unfortunately.
Yes.
But if there are any other questions for those that are still on here, you can submit them to this link that will be posted in the chat box right now.
Thank you. We have only a few seconds left until we finish the panel, and this time is for me to thank all, plus the audience, for staying with us all this time. We hope that discussions have been interesting for all of them. And of course, thank Salli, Gunther, and Kursat for the participation in this very, very interesting, controversial panel. And again, thank you. And I'm looking forward to meeting you again live. Now we can meet live. And as Annie mentioned, if there's any question on the audience that you would like Gunther, Salli, Kursat to reply on anything, just please Google it, and we will transfer that to our experts. So that was the end of our fourth episode of the second season of The Truth. Remember, Netflix style. And we look forward to coming back at the end of the year in the future with the third season, where we will deal with, again, controversial and key issues in our industry. Until then, thank you very much all. Have a very good summer, and yeah, enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you. And
thanks a lot to all.
Bye.
If anyone is interested in any Indigo books, there will be these are a few books if you're interested in any extra reading.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, we forgot about that. There are many Indigo books. Very nice. Okay, perfect. Thanks all. Until next time. Okay, thank you.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.